Hello, everyone. Welcome back to What a Story. Tonight or today, we have Mark. Mark, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Mark McNally. How are you guys?
So, Mark, you run a couple of shows, don't you?
I do, yes. I run one show called the McNally Comedy Show, which is pretty standard comedy. And then I run another one that's a storytelling show about people that work in film and television as well as do comedy, and it's called Cinematic Calamity.
Oh, cool. And where's those?
Usually Comedy Bar. They're kind of all over the place. Comedy Bar, Bloor, and on Danforth in Toronto. But I go to some different venues here and there. I'm not exclusive.
You got a mic, we'll travel, right?
Exactly. That's one of the mottos for sure.
Right. Yeah. All right, Mark, you got a story. Let's
I do.
share. What's
I
your
do.
story?
So as a kid, I skateboarded. I was never great at it, and like a lot of things I'm not great at, I just dropped it. But I still love the lifestyle. I've been wearing skate shoes pretty much since then. I've paid attention to the big skateboarders and X Games when that was a thing. And so a few years back now, a couple summers back, I bought a skateboard again. And not only was I trying to reteach myself how to skateboard, I was trying to teach myself how to skate what's called goofy foot it, which is basically skating the opposite way than you normally skate. And I spent, every weekend I tried to get out and just push around and get myself used to that. And when I would tell skaters that, they'd be really excited for me and be like, "You're getting a fresh start with skating. That's so cool, man," and everything like that. And then stopped at one point that summer and didn't pick it up again until like midway through the next summer. And that day I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna push the normal way. I'm just gonna, get some speed, get back into it. And I had my iPod on and I was listening to music from 1995. Like I was trying to fully take myself back to being 10 years old. I was listening to White Zombie and Weezer and Sublime. And I got to where I go and skate. It's a little like a cement pad that can be an ice rink in the wintertime. And there's a dad with three kids, and they're playing like roller hockey. But really, it was the one kid was playing and shooting like he was Alexander Ovechkin. The one kid was sitting in the penalty box playing his Nintendo DS. And the other kid was sitting one skate off, like playing with a leaf like this. And the dad's just going like, I should have stayed with my wife so she could take care of them. Seriously, why am I doing this? He looked like it. And so I was just pushing around, not doing anything too crazy. And then he kind of even said, I think this guy wants the rink. Let's get out of here. And so they left. And right as they left, I started pushing really fast and trying to get some speed. Again, not doing any tricks. And before anyone asked, no, I wasn't wearing a helmet, which everyone always, when I tell them this story, they go, "Were you wearing a helmet? Were you wearing any protective stuff?" I didn't think I was doing anything crazy. And so I was skating around, I was getting some speed, and I hit a rock. And I flew backwards right onto the back of my head, and I hit back on both elbows. And when I hit my head, I got into that kind of like, stupid skateboard mind frame of you're a skateboarder, get back up right now. I was like pushing myself. I was like, get back up right now. And so I pushed, and when I pushed up on my right arm, I thought, oh, that felt weird. And so I go and I move my arm and it starts making the sound of like a rusty gate. Like it was like and I was like, that's new. That's never happened before. So I start surveying the damage and I got to about right there. And rather than bone, I felt like a squish. And as soon as I did that, I went, oh, I'm gonna pass out now. Like I knew right away that I was in trouble. So I walked over to where the penalty box where that kid was playing his Nintendo DS, and I sat down and I just breathed through it. And if I'd stayed standing up, I would have fallen back down again because I fully was about to faint. And then of course you start going like you flip back and forth. You go, maybe I'm just okay. Maybe I just like hurt myself and I'm overreacting. Maybe and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna miss work. I'm gonna not be able to pay rent. I start going through all the like worst case scenarios. Eventually, I just thought, okay, I have to go to the hospital. I don't have an option here. I have to go get this checked out because even if it is nothing, I can't assume it's nothing, go back to work and injure it any further. So I walked home from where I was. I had the skateboard in the arm that was good, and then the other arm was just dragging. And I got home. I shoved as much food into my mouth as I could. I grabbed a bottle of water, my phone charger, and a sweater, and I got on the subway to Mount Sinai Hospital here in Toronto. And even on the subway, at this point, the elbow's starting to like expand. It's starting to get like built up. And like a woman on the subway goes, "Oh my God," and starts like panicking. And she's like, "Something's wrong with your elbow." I'm like, "I know. That's why I'm going to the hospital right now, ma'am." Like it's and like another dude high out of his mind just goes, "That's not good, man." Like he was fucked up, but he could still recognize that I was in trouble. So I get to the hospital and I check myself in, and then I go to sit down, and then I get almost the exact same response. There's this 90-year-old woman who's on oxygen, and she sees it, and she goes, "Oh my God," and points at my elbow again. I'm like, "It's okay, it's okay." And then she goes over to the front desk and starts saying, "Take him in before me." So when she did that, I was like, "This is really is bad if I'm getting that kind of triage." So they do you once over before you see anybody, and the guy's just like, "Yeah, it's probably separated. You probably have bursitis. We'll just have to drain it. Yeah, you'll be at work in a week or two." And I was like, "Oh, I hope that's true." Like I don't know. And so I went in for my X-ray, and when I go in, it's me and one other woman, and she had fallen and hurt her ankle, and she had fallen in like the middle of like downtown Toronto, and it had been a big scene, and ambulance came for her, everything like that. So as we're comparing stories, she's like, "You're probably got nothing broken. I definitely have a broken ankle for sure." So you start feeling a little better. You're like, maybe that's the case. I'm listening to this non-doctor who just fell off a curb and broke her ankle. Yeah, that makes sense. And when the doctor came in after looking at our x-rays, he goes to her, "So you just have a sprain, you twisted your ankle pretty bad. You're going to have to be on crutches." And then he turns to me and he goes, "And you're in trouble." And I'm like, which you never want to hear from a doctor. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What does that mean?" And he goes, "Your elbow is broken. Um, you're going to have surgery. We're gonna try and get you in as soon as possible, but things are really backed up here, so it could take a little while." He's like, "For now, we're just gonna put you in a cast." So with one arm, I texted my boss saying like, "Hey, I broke my elbow." Because I work in film and television, I move lights around, and I was
Oh,
like, I don't think I can move lights for you this week. I don't think I can even lift anything, let alone 100-pound lights and cables. And so I just texted him and said, I'm hurt. I broke my elbow." And he's like, "How did it happen?" And I was like, "I was skateboarding. I feel like an idiot." And he was just like, "Okay, I understand, man. Don't feel too bad. Like it's no big deal. Like just get better," kind of thing. And so I think it was 3 or 4 days later, I got a huge surgery on my elbow where they cut it open, they put the bone back into place, and they secured it with a plate and 7 screws. And I got this ridiculous scar for those that can see it. Uh, and I was never in like bad pain leading up to the surgery. It was just annoying. It was just uncomfortable to have your arm in the position that they had it in while I was in the cast. Um, but then after the surgery, I was in a lot of pain. They before the surgery started, they gave me what's called a nerve block, where they numb the nerve in your whole arm. And when I woke up, I was trying to move my hand, but it wasn't moving because of the nerve block, which is very a weird feeling. And then eventually I could like go like this with it. Like I wasn't properly closing my hand, but I had like the flipper action going. And then at about 4 o'clock in the morning, the nerve block wore off and all of the pain rushed to my elbow. And yeah, it was tough. The next few days were really difficult. The I think I had something like 50 staples closing up this wound. And all the x-rays that I got are really cool to look at, like the elbow being in the wrong place, the now with the metal and everything like that, and then especially the one where it has the metal plus all the staples still in my arm. Really cool to look at, but I look at them and go like, I'm an idiot. That was a stupid move. So I'm healed now. Physical therapy went really good. I was very lucky in that sense, but I have not officially been on my skateboard yet. And I think the funniest thing was there was two questions that I got. Skateboarders would ask me, "What kind of trick were you trying to do?" And I'd have to explain to them that I was just trying to time travel to when I was 10 years old and skating around fast. I wasn't trying to land anything crazy. And then the other question, which mostly came from women, was, "Is that the arm that you pleasure yourself with?" And like I said, like friends, female friends, coworkers, my grandma, literally every woman that I met asked me that same question. And I was just like, why is this important to you? You know, like it's my dominant hand. Of course, it's but I for years have been giving myself the old trusty stranger and switch things up. So I was fine in that sense. I did all right. So, you know,
Cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, that was interesting. Um, so the moral of the story is you're old, accept it.
100%, 100%, and wear your helmet, wear
Yes.
whatever gear they can put on, no matter what age you are. I feel like even if you are 15 years old out there doing this, like you'll bounce back from an injury a lot quicker, and there's no money on the line. But
Yeah.
as soon as you have a real job, yes, pad yourself, like wrap a full mattress around yourself if you can, like keep yourself safe. So and maybe pick up golf or something else that's a little less damaging when you screw up.
All right, Mark. If people want to find you, what's your socials?
I'm on Instagram as Duder McNarly. I have that's pretty much everywhere. I'm Duder McNarly. On Facebook, it's Mark McNally Comedy, and then on YouTube, it's McNarly Media.
Okay. So thank you for your story. That was awesome.
Thanks, man. I
And
appreciate
this
it.
episode should be up pretty shortly.
I appreciate it, dude. Thank you for asking me to do this. This is a great time.
No problem. I'll talk to you later.